Hey guys, welcome back, and this is another video in the Simple App series where we create simple applications, web applications using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And in this video we'll also be doing the same, where we'll be creating a simple login and sign up form where it works similar to how websites in the open web do, and we'll be doing that out here so that it's easy for you to understand and also use it in your website. And this is created using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So let's just have a look at it and then we'll jump to the intro. So here we have the login form. You can put the email address over here. You can put your password out here. Forgot password also works out. You have a login button. There's a slight animation over there. And then the sign up button out here. So if you click on sign up, it goes to sign up. But you can also do the toggle button out here, and you have a slide in effect out here too. And you have email address, password and confirm password out here. So that's what we'll be creating in this video. So without any further ado, let's jump into the video. To start off, we'll just go ahead and create a folder in any directory. I'm just gonna put it in our desktop. So we'll create a new folder and we'll call this as login and sign up. Now that's there. You can go ahead and open it with any code editor. I'm just gonna work with VS Code for now. And we need two files. One's the HTML file and other the CSS file. And the JavaScript, it's a small one, so I'm just gonna write it inside a script tag in the HTML file itself. So let's go ahead and create those two. So we have both our files here. To start off, we'll just go ahead and we'll put the basic structure of our HTML file. And I'm going to call this as login and sign up. Okay, now that's the title given to this page. And let me also open it with live server so we can see the changes side by side. And one more thing is we have to link the CSS file to this. So it'll be much easier to work with. Okay, now that's done. And let's go ahead and start with our HTML. To start off, I'm going to put the whole login and sign up, the whole form inside a div, and I'm going to call that with a class of wrapper. This div will contain all the text we want. And inside this div, first we'll give the title, which had the login form and sign up form, that title. That inside a div, and we'll call this as title hyphen text. Inside this div, we'll create two divs, separate ones. One's for title login and others for title sign up. These will be two classes for per div. So we'll do title dot login. So this will create a class of title and a class of login. And inside this, we give login form as the text, or the form tag, form. And we'll create another div with this one having a class of title and sign up. So two classes in total. And similarly, this one will be called as sign up form. We had a radio slide button where you could do the login and then you can click on sign up to slide and show that. So that we'll go ahead and we'll create it inside a div. So this is the top part where you have the form. So you can go ahead and comment it using control and slash, and we'll say top text. Similarly, we'll go ahead and comment out here and we'll say slide text, slide button text. Okay. This will be a div called form hyphen container. First, it will have the slide controls basically. Actually, this comment has to be here. Yeah, the slide button first. Okay, now this will have slide hyphen controls. And inside this, we'll write input tags basically. This first input tag will be of the type radio. So you give colon and we say radio. And this one will have an ID of login. So we just have the name yet to fill. So we'll call the name as slide. And this one has to be checked in the start. So whenever you get into this form, you have the login initialized in the start. And similarly, we'll put another input. This one's type will also be radio. And then this one's ID, we'll give an ID of sign up. And then the name, we'll give it as slide. So you'll have the login checked. And you can go to the sign up if you want to, and you can change the input tag. Let's create two labels. This one label will have a class of slide and login. So it's for what? Login, the ID of login. So basically, whenever you write the ID input, you have to have a label with a for tag with the same ID. Like the spelling should be the same. And out here we'll say login as a text. And similarly, we'll have another label. This one's class would be a slide and sign up. And the for also would be a sign up, which is matching to this ID basically. And the content out here would be sign up. So once this is done, we'll create a div called a slider tab. So to give the animation and keep the text out there. Okay, now this is a slide button. And next we'll have the content. Like when you saw the login, you had the email address and the password as a content. And for sign up, you had email address, password and confirm password as the content. So we'll go ahead and we'll write the content inside there. So we'll just give it as form content. This one will have first it's div called as form hyphen inner, and inside this we'll create a form and we'll give the class of login for this. The action we'll just put it for null for now, and whatever we write out here is what is shown in the login form. So we'll say content for login form. So let's go ahead and let's do the divs. So first we'll have a div with a class of field. Now inside there we'll have an input, basically input text, and it'll have a placeholder. Placeholder is something which is shown to you unless and until there's some other text which you write out there. So we'll just say email address, and this is required. So you have input, you have something called as required. So you have to give this, not that you can't click the button or go ahead or anything. So if I save it, you can see. So email address is there. Once I write something, the email address vanishes, but you have that text shown to you. Similarly, you create another field, and this time it's for password. So you'll say input, and this one will be for password. The type of it will be a password. We won't have any name or any ID as such. We'll just have a placeholder text, and we'll call this as password. And we'll need this too. So that's also required. So the type password, make sure that whatever content you input out there, it's not like shown outside, like email address. Let's say if I type something, it's shown to you. But in password, it's shown as dots or hashes or any of them, depending on the web browser that you use. This is the email and password. Let's say somebody forgets the password. We need a forget password text there, right? So we'll create a div and we'll call this as pass-link. And inside this, we'll create an A tag and it'll lead to somewhere. We won't worry about that for now. And we'll give a text of forgot password. We'll put a question mark there. That's fine. Now let's go ahead and we'll create the button, the main button which says, okay, if you click on that, you could log in. So that button will be created. So we'll call this as field-btn. We need the effect of a button, the animation and all of that. So we create a div called as btn-layer. That's a separate div. Now we need an input tag which says, okay, now when you submit, you need something, and the value of that is login. So that's what is shown there. If you don't have any value, you just see a submit as text written on the input. But if you have something like a value and give it, that's what is shown there in place of that submit. So now if I save it, you can see there's a forgot password and you have login written out here. Now this is for the login, right? But now we need for the sign up too. So let's go ahead and do that. We create a form with the class of sign up this time. The action is nothing. We'll just leave it for now because we're not creating an actual web browser as such. So once you go ahead and create a web browser, you can see what is taking place there. And this is for the content of sign up. Like the login, similarly, we'll go ahead and we'll create divs with class of field, and each div will have an input of email address, password, confirm password. So it'll have the same kind of effect like the login. So let's go ahead and do that quickly. So we'll give a class of field, and inside here we'll give an input, and then we'll give a placeholder, and we'll call this as email address, and that's to a required. And this one is again a field, and this time input, and this time it's a password. We won't have any name and ID as such. We just have a placeholder and we'll say password. Okay, and this is a required too. Okay, now let me just copy this whole div. This is for confirm password. The only thing which will be changing is the placeholder as such. Just say confirm password, and below this div we need the field button. So we'll just say field class button btn. Okay, we have two classes. Okay, so we go ahead and we'll create a btn-layer. We don't need anything inside there, and we create an input. We call this a submit, and for the value we give it as sign up. Now you have the basic content shown there. That's done. So that's it. We are done with the HTML.
Santa.